Welcome everybody back to another BOLDcast reaction. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
And this is Apothecary Diaries. We are so late. So we're so late, we're even late for season 2, but we're gonna try and catch up and make sure that we're with season 2 by the time it ends, because we're trying to take the channel obviously more seriously. And also, a lot of people just said that we'd really like the show, so we want to check it out. Do you know anything about the show?
I don't really know a lot about this show, other than I'm assuming it's about an apothecary.
In their diary?
Yeah, I think I've heard that there's like plants and stuff involved, obviously, because they're like, you know, making medicines out of plants. And I saw a TikTok of like, oh, it's actually like pretty accurate. Like, they're not just like, oh, this random deadly poisonous plant is good for you. Or it's like, I think it's like, as far as what I've heard, it's like actually kind of accurate, which is
I didn't know
cool.
it was any real life anything.
I didn't know that either until I saw a TikTok recently saying that like, oh yeah, like the usage of the plants is pretty good in that show or something. So
cool. Can't wait to see more usage of plants in a show. And if you want to see more usage of plants or see our reaction to usage of plants, you can check out patreon.com/BOLDcast. I guess you can get ahead. Whenever we record them, we'll post them. That's kind of where we're at with stuff like this. But you can probably get a few episodes ahead of Uncuts if you go to Patreon. This one is really on schedule because we're trying to catch up for season 2, so it'll just be coming out as fast as possible. But if you want to see what we've watched to, go check out Patreon and see how far ahead we are. You could probably get like a few episodes ahead. That's linked in the description. Also, leave a like and subscribe, please, and thank you as we rocket our way towards season 2. Not that we're not going to appreciate it as we go along, but we're just going to be really locked into this show. So if you're in for that, we're in for that. Let's check it out. What is this like duality in her? Like what? Interesting. Ooh, In Bloom, work of fiction. Names of all. Oh, that seems like an interesting
thing
to say.
Yeah.
Usually they say that because they don't want to get in trouble because they're doing a real life story.
What?
What in God's name was that? Subtle foreshadowing.
Yes.
Don't get kidnapped. Ah! All right, Father. Ah! Ah! Her name is like Tits Woman or something, like Pie as an opie.
Is she like hurting herself so that she can try
Test
and treat
the stuff. I don't know if she's making regular medicine or if she's making like a birth control thing for them. It looks like you're gonna be a courtesan whether you like it or not, judging by these fucking kidnappers. You have those explosions ready that they were talking about? She's not, why is she not worried at all?
Why are you not concerned?
It's an interesting thing to hold on to. Are there like multiple paramours?
3 months later.
Wow, big time skip. Is she still kidnapped?
Or did she...
I guess she's just enslaved here?
Okay. You're way too chill about this.
Bro took It Is What It Is to another level.
All right.
Oh.
男子の立ち入りは一切禁止。いるのは国で最も高貴な方とその血縁。あとは失った元男性である宦官だけ。妃、女官合わせて2000人。
What?
Oh my god.
So why are they kidnapping people? Just for servants? Like they could probably, if it's the emperor, they could probably order people to work there. Yeah, it's clearly that was like the number 9 on it. Uh-oh, don't let them know you're literate or you'll be a concubine. Does that make you upset?
Two years.
So she's old enough to drink, I guess? Or it's history, so. Is that the guy in the OP? Oh, sick. They need a medicine person.
If only there was someone like that around.
Or is that the emperor?
Oh, everyone's sick.
Oh, that's a eunuch. The level of opulence where there's that many princes and like how many 2,000 concubines? How many of them have kids there?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh. I mean, it's not surprising if they're getting like assassinated. There's like thousands of people living here.
And they didn't know anything.
Yeah, it sounds like, isn't that by design? Like there's all... Right, most likely. Is she gonna make herself useful or just avoid it? What the hell happened? Yeah. I don't think it's that low on the list of possibilities and there's that much competition. Somebody getting whipped? Oh wow, she's in rough shape.
They have an STD.
They might. What What if they have AIDS or something? That would be crazy. But how would this like historical person know about AIDS? And how would they cure it? I mean, if you're having sex with 2,000 people, one of them has to have something. Your baby die?
Wow.
Jesus Christ. They all gotta wear like black.
Oh.
宮中の医官はこのような遠回しなことをしないでしょう。
ええ、最後まで東宮の処置がわからないようでしたか。
ふみ、一体誰が？
それを探していただきたいんです。
Somebody literate.
Yeah. So they were just unintentionally poisoning themselves.
あの時。
Another woman threw it off the side. She didn't look at it.
承知しました。これはしばらく預かってよろしいですか？ああ、こんなところにいた。今すぐ旧館長の部屋に来るようにとのことだ。
え？お部屋へ？何の用だろう。
よし、ではここに集まった全員中に入るように。
人に呼び出されるなんて予感しかしない。ただの人手不足か。
Oh, she has a piece torn out of her dress. That's what she was writing on. There's like a stitch up her dress.
なんだこの偉そうな。
私は管理者のジンシだ。
Who's this bitch?
男なのか。さてはシャオランが言っていたものすごく美しい宦官というのはこいつの。もったいないな。この美貌があるのに子供がなせないなんて。あ、そばかすを。
今日はこれで解散だ。
There's like some death note, like, oh, so he was trying to make me read. Yeah.
You fucked up.
ダメじゃないか。君は
Too late.
居残りだよね。黙ってついてこい。
はめられた。
不思議だ。
自然の生まれでして。 何かの間違いでしょう。誰が教えるか。世の中は無知なふりをしていた方が立ち回りやすい。生きて帰ってこれるといい。
They're gonna
Being promoted.
they're gonna take off the bandage on her left arm where she was doing all her tests,
Oh.
or maybe it was her other arm, her right arm. But when she still has a bandage wrapped around her forearm, so they're gonna take it off and realize what's wrong, what she's doing, what her job was.
リンリーの命を助けていただき感謝しています。そのようなことをされる身分では。いいえ、どれほど感謝してもしきれません。はややこの恩人ですもの。人違いではあり、何か勘違いをされて否定して首をはねられると困るが、関わり合いにもなりたくない。
She would rather risk getting banded for lying.
玉葉妃からあるものをお預かりしている。下女の仕事着に使われる布だと知っているか？似てますね。なあ、娼服に関わる下女用のものらしいな。君のような洗濯係とか。もしかしてスカートの裾でも裂いたのだろうか。
Oh no, couldn't have been me.
ここまでバレていたのか。
説明してもらおうか。なぜシャクナゲの枝を窓辺に置いたのだ？
あの日、事件の真相に気づいたからです。原因はおしろいだと。でも、高級おしろいを使っている妓女は多くいました。ほとんどが おしろいに含まれる毒に体を蝕まれ命を落としました。命と美貌を天秤にかけ結局どちらも失ってしまった。
Oh,
私は
her
薬
mom.
屋でしたので毒には詳しいのです。
Maybe her mom was a courtesan.
そのおしろいは
子供の乳母が使っていたものです。比べて白さが目立つと好んで使っていました。なかったようなので暇を出しました。金子も十分与えて。無知は罪ですね。子供の口に入るものをもっと気にかけるべきでした。
同様です。もっと早くに気づいていれば多くの命が救えたかもしれない。
文を見つけてリファ妃にもおしろいのことを伝えましたが、
Oh no.
私が何を言っても逆効果だったみたいです。私は何をすればよろしいのでしょうか。
Please say nothing.
それでは今日から私の時間
Oh
を
no.
Oh,
You
boy.
just got promoted.
マオマオが抑えられないもの、それは好奇心と知識欲、そしてほんの少しの正義感。
I like this show.
It's funny.
やばいやばいやばいやばいやばい。
She's like, fuck, I was just trying to fly under the radar.
まあいわゆる出世である。
That's about as big of a promotion as you could possibly get. The only way it could be bigger is if the prince was still alive and she was promoted to being that woman's lady in the waiting.
Well, she could
Oh.
she could still get promoted to to a concubine.
Yeah, I don't think she really wants that, though.
That's a promotion that she could get. What did
Yeah.
you think of the first episode?
It was good. I didn't quite know what to necessarily expect. I guess I figured like something similar to this. I didn't realize she was gonna get kidnapped
Yeah, that was interesting.
instantaneously. But then she's just like, you wanna know what? It's only 2 years. Just
So nice
go
of them
work.
to give her a term after human trafficking.
I guess it must be like they pay the servants. But if you have kidnapped someone and given them a servant, then they like, because she's like, oh, if the kidnappers would just get more money if I was literate. So I guess it must be that like they get paid.
Depending on the quality of the person that they give, yeah.
And maybe they like continually get paid for 2 years and then they're allowed to, I don't know how.
She said that she got paid.
Yes, but what I'm saying is like they take like they maybe either get paid outright or they take a commission.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Either way, she's here for a while, and it's a very interesting system. It must be based in reality, otherwise, you know. It seems that's interesting. It seems like, you know, it's very Chinese. Seems very historical. They even put that thing at the start of like, oh, any similarities are, you know, whatever. Coincidental. It's fiction, etc., etc. But that's the kind of thing you only say when there's
potential for
people to, you know, for I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, it was interesting. I like she just cannot stand by. She's like I won't get involved, and then she's like, but I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Goes over there, sees that they're just poisoning themselves.
Yeah.
With their face powder.
Yeah, and she has all these flashbacks. I think that's probably her mom, because it looked like that was her mom in the OP, and there's this one where the hair is kind of similar. This like dark green in the OP. There's multiple sides where this kind of duality of like there's this beautiful side or something. I don't even like I with the OP I don't really know how to interpret it exactly, but I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, very
good, really good start. You know, we whenever we start a new show, we're always worried because a lot of people say that we're gonna let you know. Oh, you guys will love this. You guys will love this, and then they're either too locked into the fact that they like the show and they're recommending it because they like it and they aren't really thinking about us, or maybe, you know, we would like it, but it's for whatever reason we don't. And you know, we're always really wary when it comes to recommendations because we're very picky compared to a lot of people. But I can see us really, really loving the show.
I think it'll especially be cool if it does get like more into her now that she's been promoted. If she does start like making up concoctions or like, you know, like solving like mysteries and stuff. Like I feel like that's cool. And if it is based on like, you know, actual real things of like, oh, this type of poison can be counteracted with this, or like this can be a salve for this. Like I feel like that's cool, and it kind of could potentially go into that like Dungeon Meshi kind of effect where it's like very methodical. And obviously Dungeon Meshi is like, we're cooking up a monster of some kind, and it's like, that's obviously not real, but it feels real because of the way that it's laid out, and
the techniques they use are real cooking techniques, and like if it has this properties which is similar to this real thing, then they're cooking eggs, but it has this other property to it. So normally you cook eggs this way, but because it's like a little bit more rubbery, you can cook them this way or whatever. Shit like that. That's what made Dungeon Meshi really cool. But this is obviously gonna be more based in reality with stuff. But
I would love to see her like cooking up some stuff and like see her thought process.
Yeah. And I wonder like how, if things are going to get more intense, like as it goes along, like more political plots, like what's really...
things are ramping up.
I imagine like the first half of the first season will be a lot of episodic things like what we just saw, which I'm down for. And then as we get deeper in, it'll layer in like more political, like craziness maybe, where like she, has to make a lot of choices, and like, because a lot of the things with her, with Maomao, is like she's, or Maomao, she doesn't want to get involved, and she's like, but she's very curious, and that's there's an immediate inner conflict that is likely to be exploited by the story, and it would be really interesting to see how that kind of develops. Yeah, I'm interested. I'm excited to see how it goes. It looks like there's like people poisoning. There's like poison on a battlefield somewhere. Are they gonna get a sample, or are they gonna go out in the field and like help out this war camp to see if there's probably an enemy spy that's instantly like turning up the heat? That seems like a really interesting thing to jump to. Like political intrigue, like heirs are getting are potentially poisoned, and they said like, oh, that's really low on the list of possibilities. I'm like, that's not very low on the list of possibilities. Like if you're a young, maybe you're not the other woman, but you're the third, or like you're working your way up, you're one of these women who are like, oh, in a few years I'll probably be on that level, then it's worth it to you to try and find a way to kill all the other offspring, so then you get moved up, because the other women are going to age up, be less desirable, and then you will be like primed to be the potentially queen consort or whatever. So yeah, I don't know what that logic was of like, oh, it's not really on the high list of possibilities. I guess because it's so fortified, and it's not. But they're taking slaves. Like they didn't even know she was literate. They didn't know she was an apothecary. They have thousands of people in there. They can't really account for what they did. Clearly, like they think they can, but
I mean, maybe there's something that we don't necessarily know about, like the structure of this, or
that's
like,
possible too.
As to why she would be sure that it was probably accidental, or maybe just the fact that it was both the mothers and the babies, and not only that of the prince, but also of the one that had the daughter. Because like if you have a daughter, then you're like, I mean, she's favored by the emperor, but it's still a daughter, so it's not actually helping in any way other than
advance the line.
So it would be, it's like, oh, if there's two daughters and a son, if just the son and the woman who bore the son...
But the son died. I know, that's my point. So, like, the idea that wouldn't be likely to be poisoned, like, that's way more likely. Why would it be less suspicious? Why would it be less suspicious if a woman, if a
No, I'm saying the fact that they all were falling ill around the same time. This was before the son died, and she was like, oh, how come all of these three, like, prominent people and their children are sick?
Yeah.
What? Because if it was just the one, it would be significantly more suspicious. But the fact that it wasn't just the one, it's like, okay, what's going on here? And yeah, it turned out to be the powder.
Anyway, it wasn't a big point because it's over now. I was just saying that, like, this is everything. There's not a lot of security. I mean, there maybe is, like, soldiers everywhere, obviously, but, like, it's such a huge operation that the idea that poison wouldn't make its way in, like an assassin or something like that, it's like that's like fear numero uno, but like it's extremely likely.
I mean, it's also a possibility that it could work up to that later in the show, like that like they're kind of dismissing.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that, like, that's why I think it could be that, like, oh, we think she's so cool now, but really it turns out later that she's oh, you're my, lady in waiting, because, keep your enemies close, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer type thing. Like, if she thinks that this girl can figure out that she's trying to poison the other people, and, because she got a message in her window. This is totally harebrained. She got a message in her window, so, like, okay, somebody knows that there's something going on. They might have given this to the other person. Well, if there's somebody out there who knows what's going on and doesn't think it's some kind of curse, because that was the rumor that was going around. They was all talking about rumors. And it's like, if they think that, if they don't think it's a curse and it's going to get out that it's some kind of a poison, then I need to act like, oh, thank you so much for helping me and saving me, because we were in danger too. And then it turns out that she was actually poisoning. Like, she, maybe she has another apothecary, or she's, maybe you're right, they could be setting up, that's what I was going to say first, is that they write it off like, oh, that's probably low on the list of possibilities. It's like, I don't think it really is. Just because you say it's low doesn't mean it actually is, which would be interesting because they confront that possibility in the first episode. And then if it turns into a political intrigue thing later, and it turns out that it was on a high list of possibilities, but she didn't think so because she was trying to stay under the radar, and then it all comes back, and it's not like a surprise. It's like, oh no, we confronted this and considered all of that as a possibility early on in the series, but it turns out, we were wrong type thing. Yeah. That's more interesting than it just coming out of nowhere later, is my point. So, but maybe it won't.
Yeah, or it also could build to that with this still just being an incident of classic historical people putting dumb shit on their face that kills them. Like, so many people died of lead poisoning by doing that, or like,
or radium.
Yeah, or like radium, mercury poisoning. Like, there's so many. There's so many
nail
people
polish, was it?
People painted their like houses with
polish.
Arsenic and lead. Like, it's just riddled, especially makeup, I guess, as well. And that's an interesting thing. Is like, it's like, this beautiful blue eyeshadow that we can create now out of this like mineral. It's just like super poisonous. It's like everything's just so toxic, but they just have no way of knowing that it's toxic, or the people that would be able to figure out that it's toxic aren't, in this position.
Yeah,
to, like,
there's no dissemination of information. If people in the capital right now find out, like, or there's, she knew that the rhododendron shit was bad for you. But, so it's not like it's a mystery. It's just that not everybody knows that because there's not a medical journal, like, and then a town crier talking about, all right, and a study recently shows that rhododendron powdered makeup fucking kills you and anyone you come in contact with, so be careful out there, ladies. Like, there's nobody saying that, but she knew that. And by the way, she's like, we got this whole flashback of her, and then she's thinking about all that, thinking about the powder, and then she like grabs her arm where she had all those like different markings and scars and stuff. She was, I don't know if she's still doing tests on the sly.
She's just like thinking about it.
Or if it's scarred up and she's hiding it to hide her identity. Because it's been 3 months. I don't know if any of the wounds that she was testing on her own body would still be there. But maybe they would.
I feel like there may be at least scars depending on what she was actually, doing.
Anyway. Good episode. Leave a like, subscribe, signal. Welcome everybody back to another BOLDcast reaction. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
And this is Apothecary Diaries, episode 2. First episode was great.
Yeah, we really liked it.
Yes, and now there's soldiers getting poisoned. We're gonna see what that's all about. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding. Maybe they ate like rice, a strain of rice that is actually poison rice. Yeah. They're scavenging for food, or there's a mushroom in it or something that they're cooking, like, with, or something. Maybe it's not even an assassin.
I mean, it's just all these people just accidentally poisoning themselves because they don't know any better.
We shall see. Leave a like.
They've all the AI-generated foraging books. Have you heard about that?
No.
It's like on like Amazon and stuff. There's like AI-generated like edible mushrooms or like edible plants, and then it's just full of wrong information because it's AI.
Well, maybe we'll see more of that in this anime. Leave a like and subscribe. Patreon, get ahead. Don't know how many. Check. I don't know how much it'll be. Patreon.com/BOLDcast. Leave a like and subscribe. Hope you enjoy. Let's go. Ooh, backstory. Child apothecary.
Oh no, only 4 women serving her.
それでは上級妃としての矜持が保てない。
ええ。ですが玉葉妃は明るく穏やかでありな同時に聡明で用心深い。
どこの馬の骨かもわからぬものを次女にはしない。
It really sounds like she's gonna be evil.
命がいくつあっても足りないからな。
正しい次女と。
ガオシュン、都合のいい駒が見つかったんだ。例のそばかすの下女だ。知識を利用しない手はないだろう。
なるほど。ですがその知識を悪用された。
悪用できないようにすればいい。簡単なことだ。念のため色目でも使っておくか。
Really?
いや、用はない。
あ、じゃあなんで暇なのか。
Oh my god.
玉葉妃にしっかり使えるように。
失礼します。
She's like, why would you just grab my bangs like that? That was fucking weird.
まずは翡翠宮を案内するわ。ついてきて。はい。
It's so fancy.
ここが応接間。お客様を案内する場所よ。ここは台所。簡単なものなら作れるわ。ここが今。紹介するわ。琉球の次女たちよ。はじめまして、イーファです。わからないことがあってね。こんにちは、グイエンって言います。よろしくね。私はアイラン。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。マオマオです。お世話になります。翡翠宮では下女を雇う。じゃあ私も。あなたはお部屋で休んでいて。ゆっくりしてればいい。
She's injured. They saw the bandage.
特別な仕事。マオマオ、部屋に案内するわ。
Or do they think she's like sick?
見た？あの子の左腕。必死に包帯で隠しているけど、傷跡。
I thought she tried to like commit suicide.
Oh. Just locked away.
随分と出世してしまったな。だけどあの目は同情？なぜに？
毒味薬、薬や
Oh.
仕事だ。
I see.
She'll be able to tell instantly.
妃のために作られた食事は運び込まれる前に何人かの手が入る。
Maybe we should do our cooking in house. If this is such a.
その途中で毒を入れられる可能性がある。玉葉妃の妊娠が分かった頃、2回ほど毒が盛られた。
Wow.
Not very likely possibility though.
Yeah. I guess she just didn't know what she was talking about.
Nerve damage?
なるほど。それで次女たちは同情を。
She'll probably be able to tell by looking at or without tasting it.
この器、色味に異常なし、匂いなし、しびれもない。それらしい毒はありません。家にいた頃は実験と称し、腕でいろいろと試して。
Oh my god.
少しずつ毒に体を慣らしてきたから、多くの毒
Some princess bride.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah. Why does she have a cat ear? Is she just sneaky?
毒に反応しやすい銀線のものに変えた方がよろしいかと思います。様の言った通りね。わざと陶器を使ったの。あなたを試したのね。まさに毒にも薬にもなる能力ね。祝いにしていましたので。字が書けることも言っていれば、お給金はもっともらえたはず。されて連れてこられたのに、今も人さらいどもに給金の一部が送られていると考えると。腹渡が煮えくり返ります。自分の給金を減らしてでも、そいつらに酒代を与えたくないのね。
Yeah, what am I gonna do with the money?
Live a little bit more comfortably while you're here? She's sabotaging her?
仕送りもできない。むしろ請求するくらいじゃないと。申し訳ありません。
What?
Because it's taking it away from the kidnappers. Because they're her family that the money is getting sent to. That's really smart.
Alrighty.
Very nice. She definitely does.
She's just gonna get fat. Boy. Does she like girls? Or does she just not trust him, and it's that simple? Ooh, that looks so fucking good.
食べなくてもわかるのか。美味しくいただいてください。笑った相手を考えると素直に食べられないもんだろう。今晩あたりお相手から訪問
Is it the fucking other lady?
なんだ、匂いでわかるのか。この男、マサ入りとしびれ食べさせる。お前に聞きたい件がある。なんでしょう。先日。いた異民族の討伐部隊が毒を盛られた。毒？食事をとった多くの
She goes into normal mode.
呼吸困難を訴え、気分を害するものが出た。吐き気や呼吸困難ですか。
It's gotta be like mushrooms in the risotto.
Jinshi様、食事はどこで取ったんでしょうか。
Honey that was harvested right near some rhododendrons. It's definitely not super
It always
poisonous.
comes back to the rhododendrons. Oh, the chopsticks.
Oh. Rhododendron chopsticks.
Everything can't come back to the rhododendrons.
They clearly are in season.
It always comes back to the rhododendrons.
Bro. Allow me to demonstrate.
高級内にも毒を持つ植物はあります。これは葉に毒がありますが、枝や根に毒があるものもあり、中には生木を燃やすだけで毒になるものも。燃やすだけで？聡明な武官がいて幸いでした。村一つがなくならずに済んだのですから。ましたならこれで。
いや、待て。
まだ何か。
美薬を作ってくれないか？
You have some right there.
つまり。
Making drugs. Please let me cook.
I can make anything.
My body is a machine that turns flowers into drugs.
かようでも。
いいえ、部屋でお茶でも。
あいにく仕事が残っていますので失礼します。
女官たちは気づいていないのでしょうね。ジンシ様が市場への忠誠を図る試金石であると。
Oh.
がないからと他の男を信女に引き入れようなど不心得も甚だしい。
Interesting.
That's why he's there?
美しいだけ教養があるだけでは帝に対しての忠誠心、低層観念が。
That's very interesting. So hire the hottest man.
Yeah.
自分を浴場の相手にしないばかりかあんな目で。あんな軽蔑した目で見られたのは初めてだ。私
は失礼します。
今晩あたり訪問が。
They probably will because they gave him an aphrodisiac.
I like she just looks like a cat.
Is it because her name is Maomao? Maybe?
やぶいショット。
マオマオ様、改めまして、ガオシュンと申します。普段はジン様の付き人をしています。以後、お見知りおき。
The doctor is just like very upset.
こちらへどうぞ。ここにあるものは自由に使っていいと言われています。
Just
Careful the doctor doesn't
filled.
try to kill you.
Wow.
Literal imperial like ingredients.
の前じゃないのか。
あで紙をふんだんに使えるのは贅沢だな。あとは
あちらですね。
よく気がつくな。それに比べて主人は
どうぞ。
ありがとうございます。足りない。
これは何だ？
カカオです。
足りないなら用意すればいいだけの。
でも西のさらに南方で取れるものですよ。
気を探せば見つかるだろう。
She making chocolate?
牛乳とバター、砂糖、粉末のカカオ。
She's making a cake?
高級品ばかりね。一体何を作るのかしら。おやつじゃない？あなたたち何してるの？仕事に戻り美薬の跳躍。
You can make really? From that?
Cook and let her cook.
Just once.
It's just so delicious.
これでよし、よしって。溜まるのを待つだけだ。少し余ったな。そうだ。これなら冷やす必要もないか。さ、洗い物でもするかな。
She's gonna come back, they're all gonna be gone.
え、薬草？あれはここにもあそこにも。
It's so nice when she's just in her Oh my god!
遅くなりました。
They snuck in an $8 extra chocolate.
どういうことなの？言われましても大丈夫です。これは例の美薬なの？お渡しするのはこちらです。
じゃあこっちは何だ？
That's just chocolate.
They thought it was an aphrodisiac.
かけられていると効き目はそれほどありません。
お、ということは私が食べても問題ないのか。
それはおやめください。
張飛の前でなんて不届きな発言なんだ。
They're
万が一あの顔が頬を染めながら迫ってきたら、なんで問わず理性の玉が外れかねないだ。青だけは無駄にいいから。強いので一粒ずつを目安に血が回りすぎて鼻血が出ると思いますので。帝のために作ってもらおうかしら。マンネリ防止に。いつも放送聞くと思いますけど。参拝持続の方かし。聞こえなかったことにして。それから使用するのは二人きりの時にしてください。
そうか。
それでは私もこれで失礼します。
Why does he want it? It's very mysterious.
薬を作れるんですね。頼もしいわね。やっと終わった。
My fucking god.
手を煩わせた。
It's not gonna work.
ありがとう。
A ghost. Just her creeping around.
You think that was the other concubine?
Either a literal ghost or the other one. She's just depressed because her kid died.
Yeah.
Is lurking around on
Wearing
the
all white.
walls.
Looks like she's gonna kill herself. Like, it looks like it's more like her hair here, but when you close up, it's all black. But I don't know if they're just trying to hide that it is her.
And she's looking real rough, yeah.
That was an interesting episode.
Yeah. I like that she got to make some stuff.
She got to do her job, finally. I really like seeing her, like, adjust to the life here and get to know everybody.
I like her be the poison tester, and they're like, "Oh my god, she has to be the poison tester," and she's like, "Fuck yes, I've been training my entire life to be a poison tester."
Yeah, and she's so adept that she can, one, withstand it and know them instantly, but she can know them before she even eats, so she just gets to eat all this nice
Yeah,
food.
she just gets to pig out.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And she's so sensitive to it, and also very resistant to poison. or at least different types of poisons.
Yeah, and then this guy just trying to riz her up, and it's just not working at all.
Yeah, because that's his only weapon. Like, why do you think he wants the aphrodisiac?
I feel like he just wanted that. He, first of all, had it, and then he's like, oh, maybe if I don't know if he actually wants it, or he just wants to try and, like, he's trying to be like, oh, can you, I think casually make this for me, so that it's on your mind and associated with me, this hot guy, and so that you know what I mean?
Maybe. I think that's possible. I think what I get is he gets on just his character. He gets control over people because of his attractiveness, and since she isn't attracted to him, he wants that control over her. Mm-hmm. But because he's not getting it, he doesn't know what to do because that's his only real weapon. Mm-hmm. Going with the theory from last episode that the main pink-haired concubine gyokuyou, however you say her name, she seems like they even foreshadowed, like maybe not even foreshadowed. There's something that she said that gave me the idea. She keeps talking like, oh yeah, she'll be very useful. Like she gives off this very warm, maternal, chill vibe. Mm-hmm. But she keeps a very small staff, only people that she trusts. This guy's coming over and hanging out with her all the time. And he's like a kind of a political dude. I wonder if, and we also just found out that, like, this is where it connects, is we also just found out that he's there as a test for other concubines, so that the other women can't rise to the occasion if they're, like, fawning over him, and there's people watching all the time, so if somebody shoots too strong a look at our man here, then they don't get a chance with the emperor, because they need loyalty. So if I'm the head concubine with the only child of the emperor, and I'm like getting in good with an apothecary and with this super hot guy that is the litmus test for other concubines for my competition, I become friends with him. He approaches women who have a chance of moving up the ladder, gives them aphrodisiac, and then they succumb to his charm, even if they wouldn't have otherwise. Now that's, so she's kind of stacking the deck and kind of gatekeeping the emperor just for herself until she becomes queen consort, and then her position is solidified. And maybe she's doing it because, possibly that, like, if going with this interpretation, it would be worth it to do it until she either became queen consort or more likely became queen consort and had a son. Then that would be fully solidified. There's no question of her status, of her children's status. Everything is assured. Then she just needs to make sure that she doesn't get assassinated. But, having all of these things lined up for her, it's the perfect recipe for somebody who wants to not only climb the political ladder, but now we have a way to prevent other people from getting to her level as well. And her only competition just lost their son. And she, Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's just, all of this stuff is I think evidence for it, but what makes it more likely is that it would just be such a surprise for this woman, this, like, beautiful, kind, chill, like, her whole aura about her is so kind and nice, but, so you wouldn't expect her to be, like, this political mastermind. And it seems so nice. We as audience are so distracted by, like, making chocolate and aphrodisiacs and picking herbs and all the cute girls and all the fun goings on in the household and the, learning about all this stuff, but we don't see, you don't see the dark underbelly to the matron here. That'd be kind of crazy. Who do you think gave him the buns? Just another random woman? I don't know. A certain military officer. He said that. A certain military officer. I wonder. What else did he say about that? A certain military officer. You can tell without eating. He seemed very surprised. It's not harmful. Please feel free to enjoy that. Given who I received these from, I can't do that. But they don't tell us. They're laying on, like, some very subtle, like, build up for some kind of a greater plot that's going on in the background, or other characters we haven't met yet. say you're a military officer, probably a male. I don't know how many military officers, like, based on the they're going very historical, very gender role stuff with like the setup of everything. It's probably not a female military officer. So if it's a male military officer, what kind of a male military officer would give an aphrodisiac to the guy who is a litmus test for all other concubines? Maybe the military officer has a daughter who's a concubine or who is in the running for, like, this is just me spitballing, putting out a possibility for, like, you know, why would you give this guy an aphrodisiac?
I mean, if he just thought that he was hot.
Maybe they could just be gay. So give, like, okay, I'm a military officer. I have some reason to want to sabotage somebody. This guy is always hanging out with her. And the emperor and his staff value loyalty among the concubines above anything. And this guy, anybody that falls in love with him, is immediately struck off the short list. I give him aphrodisiacs. They sit here, have tea, eat these buns. Then they share looks to each other. They develop feelings. Then somebody else finds out, and now her status is threatened. So maybe they're trying to threaten her status. Probably not. I don't think they can threaten his status because his job is to weed out people. So I think they're hoping, like, they would give them to him in hopes, unless they are just a gay person and is prepared. But, like, they gave him a gift to eat. Like, it's a hot, fresh dish. It's not like a treat that you store for, like, special occasions. It's like, oh, here, eat this. Oh, he has a meeting with her today, or he has a meeting with this person today.
I assumed that he came here because he got those. And he's not coming to see her, he's coming to the apothecary to get tested. Because I don't know that he was necessarily hanging out here all the time before. I think he's coming here more often now because there's the new apothecary that he's trying to, like, figure out and contain and, you know, get in his little, you know, get on his team.
I figured he hung out with both of them a lot. With both of the main consorts a lot, or both the main concubines a lot.
I mean, he probably sees them and, like, you know,
my point isn't to lay out exactly what's going on. My point is to say that why would you give him these aphrodisiacs? My point isn't to say make a specific prediction. My point is to put out there that somebody is trying to fuck with the situation. Somebody's trying to make somebody slip up. Somebody's trying to give him this. And maybe they didn't know. Maybe the person who gave him this doesn't know, but maybe whoever is, you know, like, there's something deeper going on here, and that's all I'm trying to say. And that there is some intended effect of, because we we're learning about all these aphrodisiacs, and we learn that people who are attracted to him get demoted in status. That's all I'm saying. Whether it's and again, going back to her, the main concubine being, like, I want to get her name. I'll get it right eventually. Given that she seems a lot more political than she lets on, and a lot more strategic than she lets on, she seems like she's just all matronly and whatever, and just like, oh, so much fun. Oh, like, my staff or my family. I love my daughter. All this shit. But she's like a political schemer. If she's thinking that way, other people are thinking that way, and they're trying to tear her down. That's why she wanted the apothecary to begin with, exactly for something like this. Yeah. So there's a deeper game being played, and we're looking from the perspective of somebody who is actively trying to avoid all of that. So we're not getting all the information.
Yeah, she's not, like, looking in deeper and trying to, like, figure it out. She's taking everything very just like, oh, I know about herbs and poisons and medicines, and that's what I'm sticking to.
Yeah, she's not really thinking about.
They can play their own little games over there.
Yeah, she actively wants to avoid getting involved in stuff like that, but she'll give the information.
And she'll just make stuff without being asked. And I think, like, you know, that you know, there could be something, you know, with the aphrodisiac, but he could have also just asked, like, oh, can you replicate this thing? Oh, if someone else is using something against me, can you just replicate that? Just so I can see if you can do it. And they're like, oh, she got told to do something, even though it was, like, an odd request, and she just did it. You know, like, she didn't. Perhaps. And she didn't even ask the reason. You know, they're like, can you make this?
It could be a test. The thing is, for a test, it's, like, too specific to what's going on, and it's also, they have such limited, like, if they wanted to test her, they would have everything ready for her to do it. But they had one little piece of cacao. This one little tiny sliver, and they had to order it from like across the country. And it was probably really expensive just for this one little test. And obviously they aren't hurting for money.
Yeah.
But still, it's like it would be like there's a bigger thing. They want it for something. And they were surprised, like, oh, you made just like a bunch of extra ones, like, yeah. Anyway, my point isn't to predict exactly what's happening. My point is to put forward that there's something happening. Yeah. Because the show doesn't tell you, it's subtextual. Like, you're supposed to put it together by looking deeper into it and trying to think about it. But, you know, they don't say, oh, she's secretly political and he is, you know, being fucked with by somebody else. It's like you have to look a little bit deeper and try to put things together.
Yeah, and there's clearly, like, obviously he knows who gave it to him, and he doesn't like that, but, like, he was barring his door at night because she was like, oh, well, you know, maybe that person's probably going to try and visit you, and then he's like, I better put a giant piece of wood.
He could have been lying about a military officer. Like, he could have said, like, oh, it's a certain military officer, and that's just a lie, and it's actually... It could have
been from something else.
Yeah. And it's just from another person, you know. It's from this person who's on the roof.
Yeah. Either way, he had reason... Whoever it was from, he had reason to suspect that they might even want to poison him, you know. Because you wouldn't suspect, like, oh, they're trying to give me Viagra. You'd think, oh, they're trying to kill me, you know, or make me sick. So.
But again, that's my point. That's what I mean. Is like with giving him an why would you give him an aphrodisiac? You wouldn't just want to kill him. You're trying to use his status and his job as ammunition to affect a change. Yeah. Right? It's not just about getting people out of the way. It's about using him to get people out of the way. And in, like, very subtle nudges. That's why you'd use an aphrodisiac as opposed to, like, a poison. Or make him sick and, like, take him out of commission or something.
Yeah. Or they want to get him in,
They want to get him in a compromising position with somebody else. And who would, you know, somebody who's not the main concubine, somebody, like, they would want to hurt her position. You know? Because she's at the top, and then if she goes away, there's like a power vacuum. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it's very interesting. I really like this show.
Yeah, it's very interesting, especially when we're so like early in, and because the main character isn't taking the initiative to like look deeper into the political dealings. And also my knowledge of like this kind of a situation I feel like is fairly limited. Yeah. As opposed to like if we were watching like a very like Western, like, oh, they're in a castle and there's the king and the queen and like these advisors, you know what I mean? Like I've seen so many things like that. It's very easily to put together like, oh, I bet this Weasley looking guy wants this and he's gonna pull this maneuver. But there's this, and the fact that there's so many...
The hierarchy is so different.
It's so different. There's so much room for like ups and downs and sideways like maneuvering within like a 2,000 person complex.
3,000.
Yeah, 2,000 concubines, another 1,000 eunuchs. It's just like that's so many people, and you don't know what any of them, you know, really like. They want more power, but there's a lot of ways to go about that in such a. And like, you know, the ways that they might do it might be different, with the aphrodisiacs or with different, more sneakier maneuvers, because it's all about, like, you're all, like, living together within, like, a town, essentially. And, you know, you gotta be careful about what you do and how you do it, and, you know, there's a lot, and I'm really interested to see more of it as the show goes on, because right now it's all just, you know,
yeah, because in like a more Western or traditional fantasy political thriller, it's like usually people are like, you know, framed for a crime and then thrown in jail or sent to the wall, like Game of Thrones, or they're just murdered, like they just get stabbed to death or poisoned and dead. But the like using more subtle things and more like status based, you know, putting an aphrodisiac in there and then having like, oh, what? Wait, why would they do that? Like that kind of thing. Like it introduces more questions. It's way more interesting than just, you know, violence.
Also, speaking of Game of Thrones, isn't there literally a line and it's like, oh, like only women and eunuchs use poisons?
Yeah. That actually makes it, yeah. That's Pycelle.
Yeah. So it's like...
Meanwhile, that's not true. Like, you know, that's fully a misdirection when he says that.
Mm-hmm. But it is true that, like, you know, women...
It's generally seen that way,
yeah.
but, you know, the eunuch didn't do the poisoning. In fact, the one person who did poison somebody else, the multiple of the people who did poison somebody else... No, one person was a woman. Another person was fucking Oberyn.
Yeah.
Like, potentially, that's a theory anyway. And he's like a master of poisons. He's not a eunuch. In fact, he's very much the opposite of a eunuch, with all the bastard daughters that he has. Anyway.
Yeah, this is I'm really liking the show so far.
Me too.
I feel like it's very...
It's fun to have some get your brain going, you know? Mm-hmm. And just to be just fun. Like, to be just an anime, you know?
And, like, yeah, she's just silly and funny.
Yeah.
You know? But it doesn't... It's kind of serious, but it doesn't take itself too seriously that you're just, like... You know? Like, it kind of switches it up. It's funny, but there's some serious stuff. Some, like, realistic stuff of, like, yeah, like, rhododendrons are really poisonous. And it makes sense that if they were, like, burning them or eating with them or, you know... seasoning their food with them, that, you know, they might face some consequences and get really sick from that, you know?
Yeah.
And again, what I like about this is it's like, you know, it wasn't an intentional poisoning, it was just people, this knowledge is just not known. Like, these people just do not know that, like, the items around them are capable of hurting them. They're just like, oh, this is a stick.
Yeah.
I can eat with this stick, or I can cook on this stick, and it's like, you really shouldn't do that, you know? Like, it's... But, you know, if you don't know, then you don't know. But it clearly, when you know, it's, like, so
Those
immediately obvious. It's just like, oh, they probably did... She wasn't even there. She hardly got any information. She was like, you wanna know what? I bet those dumb fuckers were cooking on rhododendron. And they're like, yeah, they probably were, you know? Mm-hmm. I like it. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I like... This is a perfect example... I don't want to get into all of this right now. Maybe if we do a podcast or we talk about it a lot later. But since we're just on episode 2, I don't want to get crazy into it. I just want to say that this is a perfect example of a show that has sexual themes and has sexual, you know, like there's tits all over the place. Like there, you know, a lot of cleavage, a lot of loose, flowy clothing, draped, a lot of like, you know, the seductive kind of thing with this guy. But it's not gratuitous. It's like all like, you know, maybe a little bit with like the other girls or whatever, and but like sex is a big part of the world and they don't hide it, and it's not so like meant to be just titillating. Like it's there and it's a part of this plot. Like it's it's centered around, you know, sex and yeah, like elevating your status, you know.
In a place of 3,000 people, 2,000 of them are there to essentially be just sex options for the emperor, and like mothers in waiting, essentially, or men who are eunuchs and have you know what I mean. So it's like it's like.
It's an inherently sexual story, but it's not an ecchi. Like they could have, it's so quickly could have turned into, and maybe it will, maybe there'll be more of it. But it feels like if it does get more like sexual, it's not gonna be gratuitous or weird or just like, or just as like an opportunity to, like, you know, to like grab your attention with it necessarily. Like a little bit here and there. There's like, you know, sex appeal to it, but it's not meant to be overly sexual just for gratuity. It's like it's there for the story and for it has a place in the way that things are going to unfold, you know. I like that. You know, this is an example of something that does it, that kind of has it both ways and is making it work and is clearly, it's not going to be detracting from it or taking a detour away from the plot to show some sexy anime girls. Like it's for a reason. It really is for a reason, and not and the reason isn't a justification to show it. It's like it's all synergy. It's all working together, and you know that it's a good example of something like that.
Yeah, and I'd also be interested, like depending on, like because it is kind of part of the show. I'd be interested if, you know, the main girl is either also into girls or is asexual or is just not interested in that eunuch guy. Like, you know what I mean? Because she's just like. they show a million examples of like everyone else is like when they're like just absolutely swooning and like falling on their face just when he says hello to them, but she's just clearly not interested, you know.
Her only passion is drugs.
Yes. No time for men, only time for drugs. You know. It's
I want some of those buns.
Yeah, those buns.
Those buns
really
look
good.
so good. Can you make those buns?
I don't know how.
Do it. Try your best. Leave a like and subscribe. See you next time for more buns.